there. My name's Stephen Yahelka with California State Parks out of the Sonoma-Mendocino Coast District of California State Parks. And we're going to talk a little bit about this right here behind me. This is called a Goose Pen. Now, Goose Pens are one of the very, very common things to see in the redwoods. And this is kind of like a tree cave. In fact, these trees that we see around us, and let's just get you off this tripod for a second. All right, that's right. Now, this tree cave behind me, if we see looking up the tree, maybe not doesn't show so well in the sunlight. There's a lot of sun, but look at that. This tree has been through a number of fires. Now, while the tree itself has adaptations in order to survive these fires, fires can break through that layer, which we know is bark, right? Bark protects that tree from fires, and it's a good thing for the bark, or to have that bark for redwoods, because it protects those trees from fire. And fires are kind of common in the redwood forest. And you'd think maybe the redwoods might not see. It's kind of a damp forest. It's dark and cool and moist. Well, not all the time. And being that redwoods are so very tall, 350 feet tall, the redwoods are prone to being struck by lightning. And when a lightning strikes a tree, it might cause that tree to explode. It's a lot of energy, causing the tree to blow up, and all the pieces of that tree come falling down to the forest floor, which causes an understory fire. Now, thankfully and luckily, the coast redwoods here at Hendy Woods, where I'm at in Mendocino, haven't been through a fire in quite a long time. But that also makes us rather nervous, because fires have become so common, even in some of our redwood forests. So it is really good that we have these redwoods, because they have that bark layer. Now, inside the tree, we see a tree cave. In fact, this tree has been through such a fire that I can walk right in there. I can walk right through the tree. But if you look up, you see it still has branches and needles, which are doing their job. The tree is still very much alive. But when it comes to these goose pens, right? Now, goose pens, it's kind of local lore. Well, it's not so uncommon lore that the goose pens get their name from early settlers coming to California, in search of gold, and they found redwood forests really thick, but they found these really cool places, hollowed out trees, where they could keep their geese overnight. So they got called goose pens. I like to call them tree caves. Now, it's good to see a lot of you joining me. Hi, Angela, Nikki, a lot of you. And this video is going to be live at the moment, but it will be available later if you missed the beginning. Kind of spoiler, I popped right out of the tree, walked right through it. But these goose pens actually are very important, because they create an important habitat for a lot of the animals that exist in the redwoods. Now, here we are, getting dark. Now, what type of animal might benefit from a dark place to hide? What animals do we see normally in a dark cave? Or what animals are we worried about in a dark cave? Any comments? What about up in the top? You can't even see up there. It goes maybe about 12 feet up in this particular tree cave. But you might expect to see a number of animals making habitat in there. In fact, bats love hanging out in goose pens, and sometimes if you go exploring in a park just like this, you might see one of those tree caves, and yes, Nikki, bats. Well, you have to remember that we are on a short delay, I think of 45 seconds, and forgot about that, but I spoiled the answer. Yes, you're right, Angela, Nikki, bats. Now, not only do the bats love places like the tree caves, or goose pens, as I called them before, but they also love it when bark might peel away, creating a very small space in between. Oh, there we go. In between for them to roost. Sorry about my shoddy camera skills, but we're freehanding it right now. So look at that. That's a perfect little space and a habitat for those bats. And we are very thankful for the bats because in the summertime, man, we do get a lot of bugs. Bugs like mosquitoes, dragonflies, all sorts of things. But those bats have this ability, echolocating, and that's why they make that chirping sound, to swoop through, and they can pinpoint where an animal might be and snag it right out of the air. And something as small as a bug you don't think would reflect any sound. That technique of making noise and having it bounce back to you to locate is called echolocation. Common in a lot of different animals. Now, goose pens, they're really cool places to explore. And all throughout Hendy Woods, we have a lot of these places. Oh, man. So, as you are out taking a hike in the forest, and though right now California State Parks misses you a whole lot, unfortunately, not all of our parks are open to the public. In fact, Hendy Woods is one of those parks. This is why I'm bringing you these programs so that you can kind of get a glimpse of what the park is like right now. I think it's really important that everybody does their part and stays home. But these parks are going to be right here for you when we are able to go visit them. But anyways, just look at this beautiful forest. Some of the tallest trees, tallest living organisms in the world. And so many different places for habitat other than those goose pens. Now, let's see if we can't find another goose pen. You can see some small redwood sprouts coming out of the base of this medium-sized redwood. Now, they grow at an incredible rate, about 2 feet per year. And though they can live for a very long time, they don't grow 2 feet per year their whole lifetime. They reach the tippy top of their maturity at about 700 years, and then they just get bigger. But over their lifetime, again, fires, a major hazard to their health. But when fires come through, they actually will clear out a lot of the understory plants. We see ferns and redwood sorrel, as well as medium-sized trees and California bay laurel, all sorts of other trees that might exist in the redwood forest. Well, they all need water. But the fires actually benefit the redwoods the most because it allows for all those trees to go away when the giant redwoods, our coast redwoods, the tallest living organisms, can use that water and the space that they need in order to grow. Here's another goose pen. In fact, I've also found other types of nests within goose pens in my exploration through Hendy Wood. And let's see, any guesses as to what other animals you might find in a Goose Pen. We've already talked about bats. There are other animals that might just benefit from a protected place for them to hide from predators. Give you some time, because I do realize we are on a 45-second delay, as I've heard from everybody else. What are some other animals you might find in a goose pen? Let's see. Some people might be thinking bears. Well, it might be a nice temporary place for a bear to hide. It's not very spacious enough for a bear, right? Relative to them. But what we find a lot of the time in these goose pens, you might see a circle of sticks at the base, and that actually would belong to a wild turkey. In fact, I have found wild turkey nests within, yes, Angela is guessing rats. Rats might use these places. We have wood rats, though they build a shelter. Mice, anything that can benefit. But another thing, in those goose pens, you might find an empty little hole that goes and follows the roots down laterally, and that would be a good place for, say, a mouse to roost. Or some of them are big enough for a gray fox, and we have really cute foxes around here. The gray fox, they're about the size of a medium-sized dog, a little bit smaller. But yeah, when you see a fox, you're kind of lucky, because they're pretty nocturnal around here. And again, they like to hang out at night, but if you hear them at night, and you might, sounds like a raspy dog coughing, almost like a ow, ow, like something clearing its throat. Now, I've talked a little bit, but we were all talking about habitats, and habitats are places that animals can find protection from predators, or a place to sleep when it's daytime if you were a bat. But all of these places are available to explore within our California state parks. We miss you so much. We hope you stay happy, stay safe, stay healthy. And programs like this go on all the time with multiple different parks. So if you're looking for a little bit of outdoor enrichment, finding some windows into nature, feel free to join us. Typically, we're on at 1 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But you can also book porch programs at www.ports-ca.us. Those are really cool programs that are available to the students that are at home, and they're specified for age groups. So, Stephen Yahelko with California State Parks, signing off, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you.